Hey everybody, this is Chris DeFurio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Glad to have you here today. This episode is brought to you by the revolutionary ground control Cyclops Brewer from Voga Coffee. Right now, our customer experience is definitely weighted heavily on the side of quality and consistency. So making sure that you are efficient and consistent in providing the absolute best quality, it is a priority now more than ever. And the ground control allows you to consistently brew superior beverages through SCA award-winning extraction technology. This gives you unprecedented control over a huge range of flavors in your coffee, and it's just so amazing what you can extract from the coffee. I've personally tasted the coffee from this machine, and it really is revolutionary, and it's something that will take your batch brew to the next level. And creating those moments for your customers is going to be key both now and after the crisis. So if you want to get the best from your coffee, give the best to your customers, and do it consistently, then I think that you need to check out the ground control Cyclops Brewer from Voga Coffee. To find out more information, go to vogacoffee.com. That's VOGA coffee.com. This episode is also brought to you by BARATZA. BARATZA is absolutely one of the coolest companies out there in coffee. They design precision burr grinders with a small footprint that are perfect for home or commercial environments. I've been using BARATZA for a very long time and recommending them at every chance I get. They have built a solid reputation for manufacturing innovative grinders that meet the evolving demands of a coffee market that's always changing. There's all sorts of brew methods, but for every brew method that you can think of, there is a BARATZA grinder that fits it perfectly. And with such a huge emphasis on brewing at home for your customers, having a great grinder to recommend for the people that want to get the most out of your coffee in their homes is critical, and BARATZA is the key to that. So to get a BARATZA grinder on your counter or on the counter of your customer, go to their website over at BARATZA.com. Find out why they are one of the most trusted, recommended, and innovative companies out there in coffee. Again, that's BARATZA.com. All right, everybody. So welcome to another edition of Shift Break. I guess I already said that, but I'm really glad that you're here. And today I wanted to focus on what I think are three key areas that we need to constantly be looking at, but need to be in order for us to enter back into normal business with our best foot forward and really take care of our customers, take care of our people and our businesses. And these areas are things that I look at when I'm doing, for instance, with clients, I'll do a cafe assessment, like come in and take a look at these three areas and give a detailed report with some solutions and suggestions. These three areas are the operations, people, and the quality. So obviously, those are a bit broad, but we are going to be getting a little bit more detailed here as some suggestions underneath those categories that I think are, again, really key for us to focus on when entering back into normal business. Now, your state time may vary. Over here in Louisville, Kentucky, it's May 20th, and that means retail can technically open, and you might feel like maybe you can or you can't. That's up to you, of course, but eventually we're going to get to the point where it is normal procedure. We're in business, and there are a lot of people who are really excited about that, going back into their coffee shop for the first time, even if it is going to be a bit of a different experience with a higher vigilancy around cleanliness and sanitation, still wearing masks, etc. But just going into a coffee shop, that simple pleasure of doing that is going to be so huge. And as we welcome people back in, as we are being careful, we also have to be prepared. And that preparation is really going to help us welcome them well. So imagine like every customer that is out there right now who can't go to a coffee shop is like that one person who comes in and says their best friend loves your coffee shop. They recommend it. They come by and try it out, and their expectations are so high because your coffee shop's been talked up so much. Well, the absence of being able to go to your shop has developed that kind of desire for a great coffee experience in your shop in everybody. And also, how are we going to show up for our people, for the staff that make this whole thing possible, right? So here, let's start out with operations, okay? Operationally speaking, this is a great time for us to focus on the inconsistencies between our stores or within the stores, the things that we knew were problems or dysfunctions or inaccuracies, old information. Update all of your standard operating procedures. Update all of your checklists. Make sure that the recipes are right at both cafes and that everybody understands that, this goes here and that goes there. The little inconsistencies and the little dysfunctions end up being big deals in the long run, and it causes a confusion that eventually, even though most of this stuff can be identified as internal inconsistencies or dysfunctions, every barista will tell you that it just kind of sets you in a mood. And if you aren't taking care of these now, you're going to enter back into business with the same problems that you had before. So how are we going to solve those old problems so that they aren't part of the new reality? That's the key. So operationally speaking, go back into your manual, have a meeting with your managers and say, well, what are the things that we've always dealt with that we can improve? We can take care of it now, and make sure that we're starting at a higher level of operational clarity and consistency. And consistency is key. It's a huge thing because people love quality, of course, but we would rather have a really consistent experience over and over again of slightly lesser quality than high quality one day and bad quality the next. Or just know what to expect, right? Staff want to know what to expect, and customers do too. So if you provide that kind of consistency and clarity in your operations, then you have a better chance of providing the same thing for your customers, because all of this kind of bleeds over into what they experience when they come into your store. So my advice to you is take a look at the systems that you have right now and say, do these need to be updated? And you know what they are. They're the checklists that have the Sharpie marks on them that, or the, number 9 and number 8 no longer apply because we don't have that anymore, but we never bother to relaminate and reprint. There's a bunch of stuff that can be confusing. Just take care of those things. And there may be bigger issues that you need to deal with, but I think right now is a great time to do it, because if you don't do it now, then later on, what's going to happen is you're just going to get too busy again, which was kind of the excuse we used before, which we don't have time to do this. Who's going to do it? Well, let's think about how we can do it right now and bring our operations into a higher level of clarity and consistency so we can facilitate that in the experience people have in our stores. The next thing I want to speak about is the people. Okay, so the first thing is, and I mentioned this in a talk that I gave with the SEA on an Instagram takeover presentation on post-COVID coffee, and also recently as a guest on the Filtered Thoughts podcast. Link to that episode in the show notes here. But the idea here for the people is how are we going to create a reality for staff working in the shop that rewards them more than we did before? How are we going to create a reality that's more beneficial for the staff as we realize more than ever now how much we depend on them for our daily business? This is really critical, and I think when we consider how creative we can be at creating income streams for our business, when our business is in a state of potentially closing, the industry has created a lot of different opportunities through the batch lattes, through online ordering, through curbside pickup, and we're exchanging these ideas, and it's all extremely urgent that we do it because, death of the business is imminent. Right? So we see that we have the creative capacity to come together and find creative solutions for a problem that is right in front of us. Well, the problem of career viability for baristas has been a problem that's been in front of us for a very long time. So the question is, how can we create a better reality for staff? How can we create an environment where there's less turnover because it, is more viable to be a barista? How can you pay your baristas more? Create better career opportunities for them. And we see now that having a solid staff that want to stay with us and are passionate about working in the shop and feel cared for because their needs are met, that is invaluable. So I'd say let's parlay that creative energy into creating solutions for making a better reality for baristas. And that's going to benefit our business in the long run because we get that institutional knowledge that baristas have when they continue to work year after year. They don't have to worry about their income. They don't have to worry about paying the bills. They're just worried about providing great experiences, creating opportunities for the business, because they know as the business grows, so do they. That's critical. So investing some creative energy in that is key. But I want to also say that we need to create a system for feedback and a culture for feedback and communication that lasts past this crisis. It's easy to talk about communication and feedback and how important it is to you and the business, etc. But is it given a priority? Is it invested into? Is it a part of the system and scheduled? Is it something that if it wasn't there, you would really notice it, and you would say, "Wow, the business is really taken a turn because we don't have the kind of communication and feedback that we used to have." If not, then we have some work to do. We really need to make this a tangible system, something that is a core part of our identity as a business, that we have great communication. We are responsive to that communication. We invite feedback. It's a safe environment for feedback, and that really is going to set your staff up for success. That's something you can do right away. We have some episodes on communication and on one-on-ones and things like that. You can find those links in the show notes here. But your people, you can't put a value on them. They're invaluable, and investing into their future is investing into your future. And so these are a couple of ideas for you to take and run with. The last thing is the quality of your product. It's not enough to just kind of assume that everyone knows what to do and they'll just do it once they come back. We need to verify that everybody knows what to do. If you have higher standards for your drinks, or for instance, if you examined your operations and realized one of the inconsistencies is that, there are people that underfill drinks consistently, right? We need to stop doing that, and we need to make sure that everyone knows we fill drinks up. We make drinks this way. There are things that are issues in your drink production and your drink quality that need to be addressed. But not only that, they need to be trained. So I recommend drink drills as a great way to bring people back in and get some of that muscle memory back, because frankly, even if you've been working the bar right now, it's doing operational tasks that aren't necessarily the same repeated motions that you did before. So now you need to get back into the mode of making those types of drinks in those types of orders, right? So drink drills are a great way to do that. Simply putting up a list of drinks, having the staff make it, take notes as you observe them making it, and then go back, see what happened, judging speed, accuracy, and cleanliness, and go back and do it again and again, so that as the business is increasing, your staff are going to be ready for it. This is something you should be doing, I think, all the time. And especially now, it's important to realize that you're going to have to get your staff back into the swing of things. And so that training aspect is critical. Whether it's drink drills or not, it's up to you. But having some sort of communication and training where everyone gets on the same page and can actually fulfill the orders the same way, that's really key. All of this is so that we can provide the customer that amazing coffee experience that they've been dreaming about having ever since they were told, you can't have that experience. How are we going to show up for them? How are we going to show up for our staff? How we do those things is how we show up for our business. So I hope that this episode was helpful and that it stirred some thoughts and ideas in you and what to do in this time. This is such a critical time, unique, and I hope that when we enter into the new normal, that it's actually a better normal. So with that, I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Stay tuned next week. We got a very special week. It's the week of Joe Morocco. We have Joe coming on the show to talk about roasting your own coffee, something that I think a lot more people are going to be interested in doing as we look to build a more resilient business in the future. And then Joe joins me again on our shift break episode next week to talk about building an accessible coffee menu. So don't miss those episodes. Joe always has amazing things to share. And with that, thank you again, and I will see you here next week on another edition of Shift Break, from Keys to the Shop.